Hey, welcome to Comic Artist Pro Secrets. I am Ethan Van Sciver. This is my channel. And although I usually use it to discuss comics and discuss how to draw, unfortunately I have to use my channel now to respond to some of these articles that exist out there about me. Two in particular. I did one yesterday that was called Ethan Van Sciver Internet Bully ? And if you've watched that one, I think you probably know where this is going here. I've got to respond to this one too. Now, my general attitude about pieces like this from disgruntled fans is that I don't respond to them. I ignore them because two reasons. One, there is the problem of perceived punching down, which I continually hear about. I hear about how powerful I am and how weak these people are. And if I actually respond to them, I will destroy their lives. Fans will attack them. I'm telling you now, and I should have said it about the other guy before, do not respond to these people. Do not send them harassment. Do not annoy them in any way. This is not what I want. I do not want these people bothered at all. Okay, and I mean that. I don't want to see it. I've had to say that 3 times about this gentleman in my life, and unfortunately it doesn't stick because, well, you're about to see why. Anyway, the second reason is because engaging him means now we're going to be in some kind of public fight. This is not what I want. I don't want to be in any kind of squabble with a fan or anyone like that. But this article, it's actually a blog. It's a gigantic 4-part blog written by this man, Alfred Alfie Norris, who is or used to be a high-powered lawyer from Alabama. I don't believe he is anymore. He shouldn't be. He shouldn't be. But he retains the skills of a lawyer, and he has pulled together this incredible narrative from disparate threads of his encounters with me and people on my Facebook page. Now, I had a Facebook page around 2009 to it was active in this way 2014 or so, in which actually no, up until the Trump presidency, it was politics. I used my Facebook page, which I considered to be a small social media outlet. It only had 5,000 people on it. I know that sounds like a lot, but compared to Twitter, it just seemed like it was family and friends. And there would be about 50 people who would come to my Facebook page every single day, and we all knew each other. Occasionally somebody new would kind of wander in, and then they'd probably skedaddle pretty quickly because they didn't like it. But my Facebook page, basically it was to talk about the political articles of the day. So I would go to Drudge Report and I would find whatever was on the front of the page. Like if I were doing it now, I would find the article that glorifies the president's State of the Union address last night, and I would post it on my page and I would say, yeah, the Democrats are finished, or I would say OVA with an H at the end. Democrats are OVA! Exclamation point. The president is awesome. And I'd leave it there. So basically people who agree with me can say, yeah, it was great. And then people who don't agree can begin to argue, and a banter would begin. And it would go on all day long. It would be a lot of fun. And people would come back for it because they enjoyed it, and because, well, we're adults. We can do things like that if we want to. Or you can not. A lot of people would choose to block me or unfriend me. A lot of people, were really into it, though, and wanted to be a part of it and found it fun. And I found it fun, too. Occasionally I would dip in and argue with people. Sometimes it got very heated. For the most part, I would try to stay above the fray and let everyone else kind of enjoy themselves. So, let's talk about Alfred Alfie Norris. Alfie is no longer my friend. We had a gigantic falling out that occurred right about the time when his personal life fell apart. And I used to feel upset about that for him. I used to feel bad about that for him. Then I learned a lot of very dark secrets about Alfie. I'll share one of them here, but the rest of them I'm keeping to myself. That's not what this is about. This is about this ridiculous but incredibly well-crafted narrative that he's put together. I will go through it kind of quickly. You guys can read it as you go. I'll read some of it aloud, but I will lose my voice, and my voice is already froggy. All right, here we go. Harassment isn't comical, because comic, part 1. So this is important because, this word is a buzzword. Intro, I'm writing this to ask for help. I don't know what else to do. For years, I've been the victim of a cyber-stalking, personal harassment, and harassment of my loved ones by a group of online bullies led by Ethan Van Sciver, a famous comic book artist. Yeah, thank you for that, though. All right. The bullying started out as a series of tasteless jokes, but has intensified to the point that the four men, make multiple posts on my personal and business web pages day after day. I don't, Alfie. I'm sorry, I didn't. They spend hours a week doing this and have been doing it for years. I hope telling my story will throw light on the stupid stunts that Van Sciver and his band of goons disguise as jokes, but which are mean-spirited campaigns of organized harassment. They've stalked me, my girlfriend, her family, her friends. I don't know your family. I don't know your girlfriend. I don't know your friends. I know one of your friends. I knew your wife. All completely innocent victims who don't know who these people are. The ugliness has become so pervasive and extreme, I'm concerned it could hurt my career. No, that's not what hurt your career, Alfie. We'll get into that. Okay, so if Van Sciver can do this to me, they can do it to anybody, and they have attacked others. Van Sciver has bullied many other people on the internet and then lied about it, accusing the victim of the outrage she committed. There's ample evidence of this. Check out posts about the same sort of cyberbullying here. Now, I wish you hadn't have posted this for your own case, Alfie, but you did post it. So let's click on this link and see what he refers to. Oh, the article that I debunked thoroughly about my personal stalker yesterday, the man who conned my ex-wife into giving him her phone number and her address, and then began to use them to stalk me and her and ask for personal favors until we had to tell him to stop, at which case he created a campaign of personal slander against me all over the internet. So this is the model right here. This is where Alfie learned what he is about to do from this gentleman right here, who I'm not sure if he even believes. Like, I don't know if Alfie believes this guy. I mean, he could believe him. I don't know. All right, so there you go. If you want to help, share this story. If you've had similar experiences, please share your story. All I want is for them to leave me alone for good. Maybe this will work. It's so extreme and so pervasive that it could ruin my career as well. This cyberstalking is something I put up with multiple times every day for years now. There's no end in sight. Let's see. So, he wants you to share this. Thank you for reading. Here is really the beginning of the whole thing. Okay. All right. So this is part 2. That was part 1. It was basically like an introduction. It was a plea for help from Alfie. How it started. I met Van Sciver in 2009 on his Facebook page, which he uses to promote his work and increase his fan base. But he also picks on fans with put-down jokes and belittling comments and taunts. He seemed like a decent guy at first when my ex-wife and I met him in person at a convention in Atlanta in 2010. We talked for a while, and he drew a picture of the Hulk for me. He had previously, we've done some political arguments online, typical back and forth, but in person, everything was fine. In public, he's on his best behavior. You're damn right. Look at my baby face. Good Lord. I like my beard better. No ill will between us, no axes to grind, just hanging out and talking comics. Hell yeah. We talked after that online from time to time. The exchanges were friendly. Indeed, we did become friends. Alfie and I, and his wife, who, look, as you can see, they're kind of like artistically creative. Alfie is someone who used to make cosplay costumes, and his wife was a musician. I like them both an awful lot. And invited them, hey, if you come to North Carolina, yeah, let's get dinner or something like that. Sure. All right, so, but Van Sciver would regularly post insulting messages on his Facebook page to troll his fans. Some of us would enter the thread disagreeing and debating what he said. And that's when his gang of friends would target individuals for harassment. Yeah, I mean, that's a really weird assessment of what would go on my Facebook page. As I said, I would post a kind of, incendiary, I wouldn't even say incendiary, mild trolling kind of article, political article about something in which I would express my sincere opinion, but maybe a little over enthusiastically. And then invite people, and there would be many people who would come on to discuss it and debate it and roast each other, and that's what my page was. Alfie joined in. It was worse than the usual internet argument. They made insulting comments and personal attacks that were not confined to Van Sciver's page. They sent vulgar, harassing messages to personal accounts, and the barrage was relentless. Is that a link? No, that's not a link, so that it's not proof. Unfortunately, Alfie, I do have some proof. So let's talk about the tone of my page. Occasionally, it would get out of hand, and I would have to step in and straighten things out. And it often got out of hand because of this gentleman. You want to see? All right, let's go have a look at this. I'm not going to read this aloud because I don't like this kind of language. Let's see. I'll turn the camera up a little bit. All right, so here is Alfie responding to, I don't know, some guy named Caleb. I wish I could block these names out. Let me blow that up for you. All right. Yeah. Are you done reading that garbage? Are you done? Now let's look at people's reactions to him. For some reason, I suddenly remember being 7 years old. We get banned for that sort of talk around here. Alf, be careful. Yeah. Okay, so I guess the guy who he was responding to, who we just insulted, tried to roast him back, but it's hard to roast somebody who just said that to you. Yeah. All right. All right, we'll do another one, okay? If that's not enough. Oh, it's just, this was on my Facebook page where my parents go. Read that. I was going to read it aloud, but censor it, and my wife just said, don't even bother. You don't talk like that. At least not when I'm sober. I might curse when I'm drunk. All right, so here is people responding to him, and here's Alfie responding back. All right, let's another one. Why not? All right, so here we go. Here's someone calling him racist and homophobic. Here's Alfie's response. People's response to Alfie. This is Bradley. Bradley, who was a regular and a liberal on my board. He was a nice guy, a lot of fun. Yeah, take some deep breaths. All right. Honestly, enough. All right, so let's. I can't take that. Let's just move back on. Let's move over here. Read this again. Worse than the usual internet argument, they made insulting comments, personal attacks that were not confined to Van Sciver's page. They sent vulgar, harassing messages to personal accounts, and the barrage was relentless. The attacks escalated into belligerence and aggression, bad enough to cause me concern that these people might be dangerous. It is a pattern that can be seen over and over on Van Sciver's page. He starts the argument. That's correct. People fire back. People fire back and then sometimes agree. And then the goon squad pounces. Well, I suppose if you post things like that, you are going to perceive people who respond to you as a goon squad. Bullying in ways that are wholly inappropriate and threatening in any form under any circumstances. I'll let you guys, I'm not even going to comment. I'll let you guys work that out. This is me hanging out with some of the guys from my board. See me giving the finger there. I'm drunk. This was during my divorce. My friends took me out to, I think I was at a Comic-Con in Texas, and they came to see me, took me out for a good time, and I got absolutely wasted. They took a selfie of me, almost passed out on a bench in a bar, and that was how, that was a nice evening, even though, look at that picture, look how mean that looks. It's like, these are the guys right here. Yeah, this had nothing to do with you, Alfie. This had to do with me trying to dig myself out of a very dark place after my divorce, which is something I know that you understand. Who are they? Okay, this is them. These are 3 of my friends. They stalked me, as they have others, searching my internet presence and including personal. Vince Guyver and the Goon Squad call themselves conservative. I don't want to hear that. Tough guys, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, we're not tough guys. Here are people that we have also stalked. Randy Perry was a character on my board who would show up, and he would also say kind of over the top, kind of crazy things. And I had an ongoing joke that said, "I love you all except for Randy Perry." It was always the thing. Good night, everyone, except for Randy Perry. I guess that's bullying. I don't know. It was light roasting as far as I'm concerned. Stephen Seitz is a liberal friend of that showed up on my board, and he posts crazy things as well. And Ian Ald is an interesting fellow who used to threaten to kill everyone all the time on our board. So we had fun with Ian until they went away. Here's a private message from a time when we were still semi-friendly, where Vince Guyver admits that he likes to mess with Ian Ald. That's correct. And also admits it becomes a huge problem. Alfie, I don't care, I'm just trying to get Ian going. He's like a rusty old moped. If you can get it going, it's a lot of fun until it collapses into a mess. In other words, post political articles, get Ian to start cursing about Republicans. Okay? Yeah, it's awful. Sorry. I mean, maybe that's, look, fine. Nobody has to come to my Facebook page. Nobody had to do that. It was a personal choice. And it was a choice being made between adults between the ages of 35 and 60. So, I don't know. I don't know if we need teachers. All right, so others have commented on how Vince Guyver and others are combative bullies who harass people with bogus accusations, constantly spamming their Facebook pages. This here is fascinating. And these posts here are alternate IDs made by the fellow who made the Vince Guyver as a cyberbully. What do you say? I can't remember. I always say cyberbully, but I think maybe it was internet bully. So that gentleman went around and made fake identities and basically sympathized with himself. Yeah. Oh, look, and then he goes after this poor guy, Jeff. Oh, poor Jeff. Jeff is the guy who was stalking my family. This is Jeff in disguise. I don't know if any of that is inappropriate. Let me get rid of that. That's just a screenshot that Alfie put up. Here's another example of that. Again, this is the same gentleman in disguise. He calls me fat and homely, and he talks about hoping that I will have a gun accident in my home. This is the same guy. His name is Jeff. And he is now posting mass posts on different message boards, agreeing with himself and sympathizing with himself, and trying to whip people up into a frenzy against me. Here's a guy. Now he's saying, I went back to school with Ethan back in the 80s at Mercheville. This is him again. And here he calls me gay. That's nice. And a year later, different board. What is this? Same guy. I torment Jeff. Fantastic. Yeah, I do. I torment him. I don't reply to him. I don't talk about Jeff. This was the first time that I spoke about Jeff in a long time. And look at this. If you need any further proof, I'm not a whiner. You can't take a joke. Just Google Ethan Vince Guyver Internet Bully. You'll get about 10,000 links. Can I do that? Okay. No, you'll get this right here. Okay, the same thing that you posted and you continue to post over and over again from my stalker, where Ethan vilified. Look at him, his assessment of that man, where Ethan vilifies a decent guy and manipulates people into physically threatening him after already treating the guy like crap. Wow. All right. I don't know what he's talking about here. The worst of their attacks are directed at women. That is not a link. This just took me right back to the same article that he is building on. Please go back and watch that video if you haven't yet. I think that would satisfy you. He underlines things. It makes it look like it's a link, but it's not. I don't know what this is. I don't know what he's talking about here. I don't know what he's talking about here. I don't know what, again, I'll just repeat. I don't know what he's talking about. Vince, look at this. Ironically, I play the good guy in all this, saying it had nothing to do with any of it. The attackers were, I've never said any of this. But that's the abusive way he strings you along. Alfie, I've never said any of that. I've never said that your attackers were high-spirited guys. In fact, I condemn your attackers. I have acknowledged that you've been on the receiving end of a lot of harassment. And the reason why you have been on the receiving end of a lot of harassment in my assessment, Alfie, is because when you were on my Facebook page with 5,000 people, you were posting things like, can I get that down? Let's do this one here. Yeah, you're posting things like this at people. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. First time I remember seeing profanity from Alfie. Yeah, right. Sarcasm. Okay, so this is you making a lot of enemies of strangers right here. You don't see my name in there because I am busy working. Busy working, Alfie, while you're doing this. In fact, let's see what's over here. Oh, look at this. Here's me. Here's a typical post from me around the same time. Every morning I check my Facebook page to see what went on while I slept. And there are 200-something alerts and private messages, and I wonder what you monkeys broke this time. 27 likes, people, they know what we're talking about. That's correct. Okay? That is correct. That is the answer right there. Honestly, this is extremely annoying. All right, so this is Alfie. I'm saying, I wish you'd just believe me. Now, this is interesting. This is 11:29, and I went through and I read this. I skimmed this article before I made this video to see what he was going on about. And I said, I wish you'd just believe me. And he said, and continue to be the patsy. Now, basically what had happened here was Michael Nearing, knowing that Alfie was just kind of scanning the internet, looking for ways to be cruel to the people who posted on my page regularly, Michael Nearing decided to try a practical joke on him. And he created 4 accounts with different names like Douglas, Delta, or whatever it was. And basically he pretended to be a school friend of Michael Nearing's. And he texted Alfie, or he private messaged him. This is very immature, but this is the reality of what's happening here to give you context for this and what comes afterwards. And I remember this vividly. He said to Alfie, I went to school with Nearing, and basically everyone used to call him Dancing Hippo. Dancing Hippo, and he would cry if you call him Dancing Hippo. And that's the whole thing. Don't tell him I told you, but like, dude, he would, like, honestly, he wanted to kill himself when you call him Dancing Hippo. So Alfie received this information, and I think he sent me a message about it, and he said, is this true? Look at this. And I said, Alfie, that is Nearing. And that guy's Nearing, and that guy's Nearing, and that guy's Nearing, and they're trying to trick you. And he said, what? Well, you guys are all trying to trick me together. And I'm like, no, they're trying to trick you to see if you'll be extremely cruel with information that you have received. All right, so that's what this is. He's like, no, what? And I'm like, I wish you just believe me, okay? That was my thing to him. Believe me, Alfie. They're playing a joke on you. Now, this looks like I'm being out of context, sitting here. This looks like I'm being some kind of Svengali to him. Like I'm like, Alfie, believe everything I say so I can be mean to you. On the contrary. On the contrary. All right, so my page got taken down. I remember this. And I don't remember why it was. I mean, I may have very well said something inappropriate. I can't remember. Oh, here's more of that. So this is 11:29. He says, I get S every day, Alpha Lion. He called himself Alpha Lion once. Comments on my legal skills. I could go on. And it's, as long as it's not a name you put up, I don't know what this says. I said, no, it's cool. But Jimmy Bradbury isn't, I think Jimmy Bradbury was the character that Nearing was playing that told him to call Nearing a dancing hippo. Okay. Here's me telling him, it's Nearing. Okay. Oh, I fully expect blah, blah, blah. You're pulling my leg. Don't fall for this trick. They're playing a joke on you. No, it's just Michael, someone who you are cruel to every single day for no reason, seeing if you'd be super cruel if given the opportunity. So in other words, if given information that would hurt his feelings and bring him to a state of suicidal depression, would you use it? That's the question that they're asking him. And the answer, despite my warning to him, my repeated warnings that this was all a setup, and we wanted to see if he was truly, in his heart, the kind of person who spoke to people like this all the time. Is this who you are? Is this who you are for real? And if you had damning information on someone, would you hesitate to use it? Would you use the kind of information that somebody tells you would actually bring someone to tears? Would you? Alfie, don't do it. Don't fall for it. Oh, you're all tricking me. You're gaslighting. No, I'm not. Okay. Ethan's fatal attraction persona. Well, that's nice. Yeah. Alfie. Oh, this is interesting. Okay, so this is before or after. I don't even know what the year is of this. Nearing is all over the page, and all of you talk. Get it taken down. I said, someone is now having a very bad day. I apologize, Alfie. Alfie, I know who did it. It's gone. Okay, so somebody posted something mean about Alfie. I found out who it was. I think it was on my Facebook page, and I took it down. I said I should have done that to begin with. I wasn't thinking carefully, so I must have left it up. And he posted something like, Ethan is responsible for harassing me. So I said, take down that message, and thanks for blaming me. So I think he posted that on his page, and he said, okay, I'll take it down. He knew he was wrong. And I said, I am super pissed. I feel like choking you. He's still my friend at this point, okay? But he is on my last GD nerve. And yeah, I feel like choking you. All right, so, and this is him saying, I can't remember what this is. Let's read this for context and try to find the context. I see. So you were never my friend, were you? I was a famous person to you. You were a fan. The fact that you couldn't... Okay. Alfie constantly would PM me with complaints about the way he was being treated on my page. Constantly. Relentlessly. And I would say to him, you're being obnoxious on my page. Now, if you don't want to get treated like that by people, stop being obnoxious on my page. If you want to just be treated reasonably, act reasonably towards these people. Argue the way some of the other nicer people who argue on my page do. And he would say, oh, I'll try. And then he'd go back and he would say incredibly obnoxious things to people. He'd get out of control. He'd get out of hand. And then he would come back crying to me. He told me I was a father figure to him, which was the weirdest moment, I think, of my life as a professional. I considered him a friend. And it became clear, he kept saying, but you are famous artist Ethan Van Sciver, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I'm your friend, Alfie. You're saying you're not? I'm just a famous person to you. The fact that you couldn't take a joke or deal with these guys ribbing you as you rib them is obvious. It's sad. But thinking you were one of my friends is my mistake. Now, where's the post that goes before this? This looks like I'm manipulating him. Keep my creeps off of you? You're insane. My creeps. You go on my page, You tell people that they are having intercourse with their own brothers. You say horrible things about them effing their own mothers. They come at you. These are just people who post on my Facebook page. They're just people who post on my Facebook page. And you call them my creeps, my trolls, my bullies. You tell me, you tell other people that I am controlling them. Alfie, you are getting what you're giving. I await your apology. Well, I waited, didn't I? Look at this, 4 hours. All right, and I just like, look, we're friends. This is the thing. I see him as my friend. Alfie, I'm sorry for all of this. I'm sorry for whatever you're going through. Can we just be friends again? Can I call you up? Let me call you. Let's talk. He says, I'd rather just cut off contact. I said, I know you would. You're really mad right now, but can we be bigger than that? He said, if there's no contact, there's no further damage to be done. Let's call it a day. I said, why must damage be done? If we stop speaking, it won't. Thanks. Please stop contacting me. Done. Night. I'm angry now. This is the first time Alfie and I think this was our ultimate falling out. Or at least penultimate, because we did make up. He came on my podcast and he acted like a fool again. And I made fun of him for it, which was a big mistake on my part. Big mistake. He wrote me an incredibly strange letter after he blew up on my podcast, and I did respond to it and make fun of him because enough already. So look at this. This is September 22nd. And that must be 2013. I don't know. He kept coming back multiple times, even though I told him explicitly I wanted him to leave me alone. Yeah, I did. I came back twice. I don't know, maybe like 6 months later, and then a year later. I came back and was basically like, are you still mad? And then the last time I had been drinking, you'll see that. It's like I've been having some beers, and I said, Alfie, let's just make friends. And that was it. I mean, that was the last time. And so that is, I guess, the textbook definition of harassment on my part. I did contact him unwantedly twice, and I'm sorry. He and I were friends. He clearly had a wrong impression about this, about what was going on, and I wanted to see if I could fix things. What comes after is, interestingly enough, all right, let's see. Yeah. Here's me just talking to him. Oh, yeah. Okay, so this was a year before. I made him Facebook friend of the day. And here's the first time I contacted him back, October 4th, 2013. Oh, so it's just a month later. I let a month go by and I hoped he'd cool off. And nope. And yeah, here's 11/29 again. Oh, this must be much later. Yeah, he thinks that everything is about him. He thinks I'm sending people to bother him. You'll be back to, and he kept posting things. What is all this stuff? Yeah. Oh, this is when I was drunk. This was in May. Okay. All right, so look at this. But that was it. This was the final contact. And I admit, I mean, this is, I was like, just let's get over this. We were buddies. We did tease each other on the Facebook page, I guess. And that was it. That was the final contact by me. Then he goes backwards to 11/29. This is all completely out of order. This might be 2 years before that last contact. But he makes it look like this follows this. No. This is about the dancing hippo thing. You see what I'm saying? Okay, Delta is nearing. Listen to EVS. Damn, everyone is nearing. Shrug. Nearing. Everyone is nearing. Okay, they're trying to get you to say, thought you liked that. Directing it sounds like your style. And you can go see that what Delta told you isn't true. How would you know what Delta told me, Winky? I said, Alfie, that's what I'm telling you. Nothing happens that I don't know about. Look at this. Like, that means that I know everything. I'm kidding. Jesus. All right, so this is the same day, same situation. Okay, look, I'm getting fed up. It's nearing effing around. Of course it was. Not was, is, right. Don't let them spin your head. That's what's fun about this. Blah, blah, blah. Look. No one is cackling. It's nearing effing with you. He has 4 IDs that I know of. I don't know, there might be more. But there were 4. And those 4 were all telling him about the dancing hippo. Okay, so Van Scivertown is... all right, so let's talk about what Van Scivertown is. In 2011, I started up a private page, that I invited my closest friends to, and family. And it was a page that where I needed help because it was becoming clear that I was about to go through a divorce. And people who were on that page, my closest friends, all became Van Scivertown. And it was kind of like a place where I would go and say, she said this to me, and I would whine and complain and ask for advice about, my marriage that was falling apart. And I got good help from the people that were in there. And I invited people in from church. I invited people in from, like, my mom was there, my brothers, I think a couple, maybe one of my sisters, and some Facebook friends, or people that I knew and wanted to get closer to. We're all part of this support group called Van Scivertown. All right, so let's keep going here. All right, let's see how it escalated. Podcasts. That's right, we had a podcast. We invited you on. Oh, look at this. He comments, this is me. We called each other this word right here. But then you grow up and realize that's what guys do. You wouldn't do it around your mom. It's just gentle ribbing. All right. This was about being a kid. This is about this word no longer being acceptable. And when you're a kid, that's what you do. As boys, you bully each other. You beat each other up. Everyone calls each other this word. And then this word has become unacceptable. You need to kind of learn, however, to roll with other guys, which is something that, Alfie couldn't ever seem to do. He always went straight to this. Well, these guys would say, kind of gentle. Let me see what's next. Okay, I have a couple more photos here. Well, other people would go to gentle ribbing. Alfie would go to this. And then, when people would get angry with him, he would get very upset and come to me. And I would try to organize things to make it stop. Now, I became kind of a father figure to Alfie, he says. So let's go here. He said, Ethan, I feel like I'm being harassed. This is 11/29. This is that very same day. All right. Fellows, it has come to my attention that Alfie Norris has been on the receiving end of some trolling. Alfie believes this is me doing this, that I'm responsible because I asked you guys to do that on my behalf. Well, obviously this isn't true, but just in case someone thinks that I am their leader, that I want Alfie harassed, let me correct that notion. Leave Alfie alone. I don't want anyone to think I'm being made happy because Alfie is miserable. Okay? This might strike some of you as paranoia. It does me. But if it's you guys who are bothering Alfie, please stop it. You guys are much better than that. Love, Ethan. So this is my post on my Facebook page. All right. No, Alfie. This is now Alfie. I am blocked. I said, Alfie, I have no doubt that you're being trolled. I know it. I know you are. You made a lot of enemies on my page. A lot. You were rude to everyone for 3 years. People control me. You and I had a falling out. Oh, this must coincidentally be a different 11/29. This is much later. This is post the podcast. So he came back on the podcast. You can hear him talking about things. He made some really strange comments about raping Gilda Radner. Very, very odd. And then he blew up at everyone and stormed out. And I laughed at him because it was so ridiculous. I said, I made fun of you. I regret that now, but I was angry. Okay. Yeah. Good. This isn't going to get fixed here. Let's just leave Alfie where we found him. I repeat, do not harass him. Please do not troll him. Please do not bother Alfie in any way. Okay? If you look at Alfie's wall, someone made a fake Facebook account with his photo on it. It's unsettling, and I understand why he'd be bothered. All right? Okay, so we're acknowledging Alfie was being trolled at this point. And I'm telling everyone, and there were quite a few people, I'm actually speaking to 5,000 people. If it's you, if you're doing it because you think I want you to, please stop. I don't really know what else I can do at that point. All right, where did it go? Right here. Yeah, all right. You can listen to the blogs you can listen to the podcast if you want. Let's see, stalking. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what this is. Looks like Nearing's in there. He is a friend of mine, but he's a grown man. He can, if he wants to do this, what can I tell you? All right. Here's his girlfriend being harassed. So Alfie, yeah, look at this. All right, so my minions. He is. He's definitely being bothered. But I have cut off contact with him. Let's see. My name is. He's getting phone calls. Yeah, these are people busting his. Yeah, okay. So then he says, remember, nothing happens that I don't know about. Either man's cover. Alfie, not in the world. It's like, I'm sorry. I don't know everyone that bugs you. I really don't. I assume that you are similarly troublesome wherever you go. That's just kind of this is gonna happen to you. I am not the center of the sun. I'm a very busy man. I did enjoy having my Facebook page in which I did political trolling every day, and everyone joined in and roasted each other. That was fun. The idea that I would want to continue to hurt you, especially after what I learned about you shortly after this, is ridiculous. I'll leave that to the police. Right, we got other people. Look at this. I don't know what that. All right, people are taking his name. I did see some of this when it was happening. I did. Yeah. All right. Lots of accounts. And I mean, to suggest that, what is all this? To suggest that just because it happened once, it's going to him in a way that was trying to get him to be cruel. It's ugliness. Yeah, he did. He went through a lot. That would mean that this was, me or my friends. I have suspicions about some of the people who were doing this. I do. All right, let's go. Part 4. Ugh. I mean, in a way, it's just like, look, I see this. I see what's going on with you, pal. I get it. How this has affected me. They sent comments to my girlfriend. How you can help spread the word. All right. I guess that's it. That's the end. All right, Alfie, I see what you went through. I see it. I can't even, I scanned it. I remember seeing people creating fake accounts about you with your names kind of being parodied. I saw some of that. I'm on Facebook. I used to see that, and I used to go, ha, ha, ha. It wasn't me. It wasn't anyone that I knew. The reason why I went, ha, ha, in a way, is because, A, you were the kind of guy who said stuff like this to people. And also, this is an interesting thing right here. This was when Alfie kind of turned against me because I went out with one of the guys in Toronto. I took him to see Bruce Springsteen. This is Kevin Oakley. And Alfie started sending me messages that indicated that he was in a weird way kind of jealous. Here's a private message between the two of us. I said, Alfie is jealous that we hung out. It's creepy. He said, yeah, he's mentioned it to me 2 or 3 times. I said, he's mentioned it twice to me, and then on the boards too. Like, oh, you got to hang out with Ethan. Weird. It was weird. All right. So somebody sent me this. Honestly, I'm sick to my stomach. All right. This is Alfie describing what he wants in a woman, which is not quite a woman yet. Honestly, I don't get where that came from. I don't really know. But yeah, that's ugliness. All right. Let me show you one more thing to end this. Okay. I learned this shortly after we stopped being friends. A lot of things kind of came to light about Alfie, and it took a long time for one person to get brave and to stand up against him. And this poor girl was 16 years old, I believe, at the time that this happened to her. And it goes hand in hand with what I just showed you. Honestly, my stomach hurts. All right, Socies Wilson, I've never met her. She says, "Hi all. I know I've been inactive for some time now. I've been dealing with lots of life events and changes, good and bad. They have kept me busy, too busy for much costume convention stuff. But with the encouragement of a few trusted friends in this community, I'm finally coming forward about a figure in the convention costume scene known on here as Alfred Alfie Norris, who has troublingly refashioned himself as a kind of moral authority, but without owning up to his own history of sexism, inappropriateness, and harassment. I'm sharing this here, as this is a public page, so others in the community can be informed and act as they deem fit accordingly. I especially would like to advise my fellow female customers. I don't seek to form a lynch mob or crucify someone unnecessarily, but in evaluating anyone or anything, a total, holistic view of the facts is imperative." I agree. "So if you choose to still be friends with or advocate for them, that's your choice, and at least it will be a fully informed one." Attached are a few screenshots taken from some years ago now. For further context, at the time of these messages, I was underage and he was married. And that's correct. She was 16 years old, and Alfie was married to his wife, who I know, and who also told me some things that worried me. All right, for her and for him. I won't get into that. For some context, I've attached my only prior interaction with him to show that there wasn't a history there, and to show that I have no ulterior motive in sharing this other than what I've stated above. You may ask why I'm finally sharing this now, and in truth, I mostly put it out of my mind. It wasn't until... Let me see. I gotta scroll down here. Okay. It wasn't until seeing some people I genuinely admire in the community share a status of his earlier today that I felt, that I felt the need to inform them and any others. Thanks for reading and considering. Hope to be back safe with more positive content eventually. Stay safe, guys. So, Alfie spent most of his time sexting women that he were asking him about cosplay advice while he was married. Some of them were under the age of 18. Here's an initial she wants to show you. This is how she was talking to him. There was no flirting here. Can you name, at least off the top of your head, some of the people who have Spidey Universe costumes? Trying to avoid the dreaded invite all feature on this event, but I don't want to specifically invite, say, exclusively DC or X-Men customers. And thanks, man. And here's just a regular kind of, hey, yeah, these are some of the people I'll have to thank. I appreciate it. Villains, blah, 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 blah. Okay. So they're just, she is seeing him as a cosplay expert, somebody who makes costumes, somebody who could point her in the right direction for, the costume. It looks like she wants to make some kind of Spider-Man related costume for herself. And that was in June of 2012. So here is Alfie. Around the same time that he's posting on my board, I'm seriously holding back from making totally inappropriate comments about role-playing and your She-Hulk swoon. This girl's a child, Okay, she's a sophomore in high school. Haha, it's not that good, is it? Oh yeah, it is. Whoa, thanks then. All right. He's talking like this to a girl who's basically a cast member from iCarly. All right. Whoa, thanks. Thanks then. Bubbly. She's a kid. I'm to the point where I'm wondering how hard it would be to get the green makeup from your body, off of my junk, winky face. Junk meaning my genitals. I'm sure that's TMI. Look at Alfie testing this poor girl. Look at him testing the boundaries between him and this child. Yeah, I'd say so. Ha ha ha. Okay. When my son was 16, he was playing with Legos. This is a 16-year-old girl who trusted Alfie for advice about her cosplay, and Alfie preyed upon that trust. He preys upon people who believe him. He uses virtue signaling of the kind that you would have to go to his page to believe, where he announces that we all have to get along, but trans this, LGBT that. I support women, and that is a shield. That is a cover and a disguise for this activity. And this poor girl has been living with this confusion for many years until last year when she finally had to get it off her chest and warn other people. And do you think for 1 minute that she is the only girl with a story like this? I don't. Alfie's article was a sad and sordid affair of some actual, true, and ugly harassment, much of which he probably deserves from people who have interacted with him, who've dealt with his abuse, his harassment, his language, his vile, coarse treatment of other people. And Alfie has turned that around and laid that at the feet of me. I was his friend. We had a falling out because I got sick of it. And this fellow, the type of fellow who, I'm way back here. The type of fellow who gets upset because I take another man out to see Bruce Springsteen that isn't him. This fellow wrote an enormous column defaming me, accusing me of things that he has no evidence for, and that are currently being circulated by people who are calling me names, calling me a harasser, calling me abuser, calling me a bully. For further backup, he posted a link to Jeff Hartz, who stalked and harassed my family until we got brave enough to tell him to go away. And he uses that as proof, as evidence, that I am all the things that he accuses me of being. Now, I didn't want to have to do this. I don't want to go through his... I don't want to... First of all, I don't want to see that ugliness. I see he was harassed. I see it. And I was dimly aware of some of it. I remember those parody accounts. I remember some of them. But for him to take this and try to get some kind of weird revenge on me, who he considers to be a famous pro, not a friend, never a friend, has been a struggle for me. Now, I've also learned over time more stuff about him and his behavior, his abuse, his mistreatment of women, including his ex-wife. And it all makes sense now to me. Alfie, we see you. People see you. And eventually, you are going to receive karma for this. I'm Ethan Van Skyver. This was Comic Artist Pro Secrets. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye.